see some placards. I want to see some posters. I want to hear some noise.
One of the most beautiful things is really understanding what community means. And I want you to look around at each other and see that. See how this community has come together. See how we stand up for what's right.
One thing I recognise is passion, and I recognise how important passion is. You know, I'm in an industry, I've lived a life where I've seen the people at the top, they don't really care. It's the people that do the day in, day out stuff and get the job done. You need them people that are going to fight for you, and when your back's against the wall, they're there for you. And I've looked at Faiza, and she is feisty. she is strong.
Described as a rising star by The Guardian, Faiza Shaheen was the Labour candidate to beat Ian Duncan Smith. But just a few months ago, she was dropped as the candidate for liking a tweet. Refusing to back down, Faiza has decided to stand as an independent against her former party, taking on the Labour and Tory machine.
You're supporting Faiza Shaheen today in Chingford and Woodford Green. What made you support her?
First of all, I thought she was really badly treated. Once I found out what happened, I thought, that's not good, you know. So when someone's down, you want to naturally, you know, help someone out. You know, I've always been a bit of a fan of the underdog and the mistreated. So yeah, when I heard that, I thought, you know, she needs a bit of support. So that was the first thing. Then obviously I met Faiza and see her views and see how connected she is to the community, her upbringing, where she went to school. She really is, you know, her heart's in the community. You know, she knows what's going on here. So I thought, if I'm going to actually, I'm from the same community. If I'm going to actually vote for someone to get in, like, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really.
I heard that when you were 14, you joined the Labour Party, and it has been a few years since you were 14. Would you mind sharing with us how long you were in the Labour Party for before you decided to quit the Labour Party and support Faiza Shaheen as an independent candidate?
I haven't actually quit the Labour Party yet.
Do you intend to?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yes, but I thought after the election, unless I'm thrown out because I'm going to put this poster in my window, and yeah.
Just to clarify, that's a poster of Faiza Shaheen, right?
I've known Faiza for several years, and she's very passionate, she's very honest, and she really, I'm sure she'll do what she says she'll do for the area.
And are you scared at all that by Faiza running independently that it might actually keep Ian Duncan Smith in power? Or do you think this community is going to come together and get Faiza in?
Yeah, I've thought about that, but the thing is, if, as they say there might be, it's a Labour landslide, well then it won't matter about Ian Duncan Smith. He won't be a kingpin, he'll be a minion. So it wouldn't bother me if he's still here. He's not a very nice man. He tells lies all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think Faiza's very honest.
Moving on from loyal supporters and world snooker champions, we wanted to find out what the people of Chingford and Woodford Green, which Ian Duncan Smith has represented the area since 2010, thought about an independent taking on the two main parties. Were they aware of Faiza Shaheen, how she was treated, and whether people were ready to give up on the duopoly and give an underdog a chance?
Excuse me, sir, are you going to be voting in the upcoming election?
I am, yes.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Faiza.
What's making you vote for Faiza?
Where do I start?
Well, I'm a bit of a dilemma. I think I'll probably vote for Faiza, to be honest. I think about voting Labour. I'm not 100% certain, but I was a bit disappointed about the way she was taken off the ballot without really any explanation. So I think I'll probably vote for Faiza.
Have you heard about Faiza Shaheen, the independent candidate?
Yeah, and I've heard her at LSC actually for a talk about a year ago, and I thought she was very, very good.
So you might lean towards Faiza possibly.
I'll probably read through everything, but I thought she was, you know, she spoke on inequality, and I thought, you know, she was very strong.
Does it make you angry? That's what she's told us, that she was potentially being silenced on these issues?
I think angry is a strong word, and I'm probably not angry about anything, like, you know, in terms of individual things. I'm angry about many things in the world, and that was it that's going on, but I'm not sure that anger would be the word that I would use for that one.
And one very quick last question. Are you worried at all that if people do vote for Faiza, it may split the vote on the left and keep Ian Duncan Smith in, which obviously some people would be happy with, they support him, and obviously some people won't be happy with that?
I believe people can make their own decision, vote who they want. I think it's important that people have time, they evaluate everything, and they make, and the good thing is we you know, we live in a country where we can, go and vote, and it's, everyone has their free vote, and that's really important.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Are we supposed to declare that?
No. I would vote Labour.
You're going to vote Labour. So are you aware that Faiza Shaheen was the previous Labour candidate and she's been deselected?
She's one of the person that I'm divided between either Labour or her.
Okay. So Faiza, she was from this constituency. What she would say is that she was deselected unfairly and that the new candidate for Labour has been parachuted in from the other side of London and she doesn't know anything about the constituency, and obviously she wants to represent this constituency as a person who grew up here. So what do you think would make you vote for Faiza over Labour?
Would she win?
Pardon?
Would Faiza win?
Would she win from the party that she's standing?
If she's standing, if she's not going to win, we're just letting the Tories win. So
I know when I first heard about it, I was really shocked. I knew about her because my mum lives around here and is a big sort of supporter of hers. But then the other day I heard this, I think, Guardian podcast with John Harris where he talked to the candidates, or the main ones around here. Then I started to think, the Labour candidate, what she was saying is it's about the issues around here, and I started to think it could be, more a personality thing with Faiza, so, I do rather wonder about that.
I think the way she was treated by Labour Party was pretty disgraceful. I think it's important we have some independent voices in Parliament. Just generally, if it's going to be a supermajority, I think it's important it isn't just one state, one party. And I think just having someone that knows the area locally is also very important.
I've lived here my whole life. I grew up here, I went to local schools, and the community. There's lots of people in the community here that really support me, that want to have someone they know be the MP here, and I've been fighting to be the MP here for a really long time, and even that was previously under Labour. In some ways, being an independent has allowed me just to be free and run the campaign in a much more joyous way without lots of interference from those that don't know the area at all, in the regional office, at the national level, that feel like they can dictate to candidates what they should and shouldn't be saying, even though they have no idea about the area in which they're running in.
A lot of people are worried about all the independents that are running around the country and this idea of potentially splitting the vote on the left, because people seem to be focusing more on just getting the Tories out rather than voting for who they actually want to vote to. So what would you say to those voters who are hesitant to maybe vote for people like yourself just because they want the Tories out? What would you say to them?
For independents, and where you can get an independent or a Green candidate, it's really important that you look at who you're voting for, because we're going to need some oppositional voices, we're going to need some critical voices. And I can tell you from being inside the Labour Party until a few weeks ago that there is so much control and there's so much pressure on even those that want to say anything to not say anything. And so I worry that we will have a system within government and within Parliament that just is very, very narrow, and we won't have enough oppositional voices. So yeah, good riddance, the Tories are gone. So we actually do, in somewhere like Chingford Woodford Green and some other places as well, we do have an opportunity to vote for someone different.
Are you worried at all that the vote might be split and Ian Duncan Smith might remain into power?
Yeah, that's obviously not what anybody wants, is it, to be honest with you? But ultimately it's a possibility, but you have to kind of go with your instincts on this one. So I still think there's a lot of local support for her, to be honest with you, and I think that's probably why I'll stick with that plan.
And because of, a lot of people are unhappy around the country because of lots of decisions from Labour, and we've got more independent candidates than ever. Do you think almost Labour might be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit by parachuting all these candidates in from all over the country in different places?
To be honest with you, I think they're still going to win quite comfortably, which is why another reason why I kind of think that, if I do decide to vote differently, it's not going to make too much of a difference on this occasion. But I think they have a responsibility to sort of explain why they make some of these decisions, and I don't really feel that's happened, to be honest with you. Not in a satisfactory manner anyway. So it's unfortunate. I still normally vote Labour, to be honest with you, but I think in this circumstances possibly not.
Do you think this has been a purge of the left? In the same week we had what seemed to be, or what some people would have said, is a move to get rid of Diane Abbott, which ultimately failed, and then it was Faiza as well. Do you think the Labour Party have tried to purge the left?
Oh, very much so. And it's there's a lot of talk of Labour being this broad church, and it just doesn't feel like that's the case at all. It feels like a certain element of people with certain opinions, whether it's on, Gaza or sort of being very socialist, have been kicked out quite blatantly. I've only lived here a few years, and I was living in Diane Abbott's constituency before, so there's there's definitely parallels there.
I usually vote Labour, so probably Labour because I always vote Labour. I know there was some trouble with her in Labour.
So you're saying it's better to vote for Labour even though Faiza Shaheen was the previous candidate, she was deselected due to some internal party issues. Yeah. Do you think the priority should be let's vote for Labour, get the Tories out, it doesn't matter about any local political drama?
That's my priority, yeah. That's what I think.
Are you guys going to be voting in the upcoming election?
Yeah.
Do you know who you are going to be voting for?
Yeah, Reform.
Reform. Okay, and what's making you vote for Reform in the area?
Stop the boats.
Are you worried at all about, some people will say, there's no point voting for the smaller parties, they're too small, they're never going to make a difference.
I agree with that.
You have to vote for the bigger parties. So are you worried that a vote for Reform could, potentially keep somebody in power or put somebody else in power that you might not want them to be in power?
Starmer's going to win. I just don't think he's going to win no matter what.
Would you say it's more of a protest vote? It's all right. Do you think it's more of a protest vote?
No, I just think the Conservatives are clueless, but so is Keir Starmer. It's going to take Labour to get in for us to realise the country's in a bad way.
Are you afraid at all that the vote is going to be split and Ian Duncan Smith is going to be allowed to remain in power?
Possibly, but to be honest, I don't think she was going to win anyway. I think all the gains were made from Faiza, from the work she's done over the past 5-6 years. I think after the way it was handled, the way she was kind of barred from standing, I don't think it sat very well with people locally. I don't think people like that. I certainly didn't. So I wouldn't have been voting for Labour. The only reason I was really going to vote for Labour was because of Faiza. I was already quite deterred by Keir's flip-flopping and going back on fledged. I was a Labour Party member. I voted for Keir Starmer to be leader. I left a few months after because he just kind of went back on every pledge. So I was reluctant to vote Labour anyway. I don't think she would have won. I don't think she'd have won regardless. So if the vote split, then the vote split. In a minute, it feels like it's kind of like for like anyway. Having a representative kind of from the government head office is what we've had regardless. So whether that's IDS or Sharma, that's still kind of, it doesn't really feel like there's much in the way of change.